Regular meetings facilitate open communication that allow all of our staff members to exchange ideas, share their concerns, and give their feedback. So the first of the purpose of our meetings is really all about alignment of our goals and vision. So staff meetings are an opportunity to ensure that everyone in the practice is aligned with our overall goal and vision. Now, when we get really clear about our goals and visions, what we're doing here is establishing where we want to go. It's deciding if we're going to go on a holiday, where are we going? Now, once this alignment is clarified there, we can actually then begin the steps towards making that a journey. So this alignment is absolutely critical for maintaining a unified approach. It brings everybody onto the same page. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing in Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset for chiropractors so they can increase their income, their impact, and their enjoyment in practice too. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing a game changer for your practice. We're going to be talking all about high-performance staff meetings, and we'll uncover why they're crucial and the impact they can have on your team's energy and on your practice growth. And we're also going to explore 5 meeting pitfalls that you need to be aware of. Now, if you're not currently implementing meetings or if you're being held back by one of these pitfalls, there's several signs that you need to be aware of. First, what you might begin to notice is that your practice will feel disconnected. There'll be no alignment amongst your team. And because of this, what we start to notice is that results are compromised. Projects don't get completed. And if they are running some sort of systems you practice, they'll be super inconsistent. They'll be done sometimes and not others there too. And this ends up with you as the owner of the practice feeling exhausted, or maybe there's staff members there that are pulling well above their weight. And we're tempted to go to that old adage that if you want to get something done, then you need to do it yourself. Now that clearly is not a long-term strategy for running a business. But when you get this right and you know how to avoid the meeting pitfalls there too, one of the first things that you'll notice is that output is multiplied. And this is almost like a magic trick or having a superpower. There's a leverage that starts to happen, and it feels for many of you like you're running a business for the very first time. And this is really, really exciting. Now, when this starts to happen, we also start to notice that quality increases. Now, from patient care to admin to marketing, things not only get done, but they get done well. And if you invest the time and the training, the resources, in many cases, things can get done better than if you were to do them yourself. Again, feels like magic. And then finally, what we notice is that energy and enthusiasm elevates, not just yours as the practice owner, but across the entire team, because staff are learning new things. They feel refreshed. There's implementation, there's innovation, and the practice is growing. And this is exactly what your staff want. Not only do you want the practice to grow, but our staff want that also. So let's dive a little bit deeper into why meetings matter, and let's investigate the purpose of the meetings there too, and let's also then dive a little bit deeper into these pitfalls we need to be aware of, okay? So the first of the purpose of our meetings is really all about alignment of our goals and vision. So staff meetings are an opportunity to ensure that everyone in the practice is aligned with our overall goal and vision. Now, when we get really clear about our goals and visions, what we're doing here is establishing where we want to go. Okay, so it's deciding if we're going to go on a holiday, where are we going? Now, once this alignment is clarified there, we can actually then begin the steps towards making that a journey. So this alignment is absolutely critical for maintaining a unified approach. It brings everybody onto the same page as well, okay? So the second thing that allows, obviously, is improved communication. So regular meetings facilitate open communication, particularly, again, we'll talk about some of the pitfalls in a moment, that allow all of our staff members to exchange ideas, share their concerns, and give their feedback. We have team members on there that are a wealth of information that can tell us how things are going, but we need to give them an opportunity, a safe environment for them to exchange their ideas, share their concerns there too, and give us feedback. So this open line of communication helps to prevent misunderstandings, ensures everybody's on the same page regarding whether it be patient care protocols, office procedures, or new initiatives. Meetings can be a really powerful tool for problem solving. We touched on this beforehand. So it's a structured environment to address any issues or challenges that the practice might be having. Now, again, staffing issues, problems with administrative things, maybe technical problems. The phone's not working, the computer's not working. We can brainstorm solutions. We can then make sure that we delegate that onto somebody else. So we have this opportunity for us to problem solve, but it's done in a structured environment. One of the frustrations we can have as practice owners is all of these messages coming to us from our staff. This needs to be done, that needs to be done, this needs to be done. And this happens because we haven't got an environment where our staff can bring these things to us. And as a result, they come to us, we're not organized, and they get lost. They're really important for team building. So these sorts of regular meetings or regular interactions in a structured environment from there build a real sense of camaraderie. And when the team feels connected and supported, they're more likely to collaborate, okay? They're much more likely to be a harmonious work environment. There will be a sense of harmony and support that happens. And this not only means that we allow our team to be able to express more of themselves, but it means that we decrease the need for us to be hiring, and it slows down staff turnover. Importantly, if we do this right, then the meetings form a really strong foundation for accountability. And this is what is missing for you. We'll talk about this in some of the pitfalls there too. Staff meetings are a key tool for maintaining accountability within teams. So we set really clear expectations, but we must have a follow-up process. If we don't have a follow-up process, there is no accountability as well. So the accountability helps to maintain high standards of performance across our practice, all right? Accountability is something that we need to have in our own lives there as well if we're wanting to do anything, but certainly we need it for our staff. Our meetings are really important for adaptability and innovation also. So things are changing so quickly nowadays. It seems every year I say that and they change at a more rapid pace there. And so the ability for your practice to be able to adapt and innovate is really crucial. If you're slow at this, you could get left behind. And regular staff meetings allow you to stay abroad and informed of what's going on, what new things are happening in your community, what new processes are available for our front desk, what new processes are available as far as communication and marketing and technologies, best practices, so we can keep on top of all of these. And of course, if all of the above factors are put into play, then what should happen is increased revenue. Better patient care, more satisfied patients is going to lead to higher retentions, lead to more referrals. You know, we're implementing projects and there's follow through and they'll be done with high standards there too. We just get to see consistent practice growth and revenue grow as well. So implementing staff meetings and doing it right may well be one of the most important things that you can do if you want to grow your practice. Now, we can obsess about our marketing. We can obsess about, a new day one or a day two. But many of this needs to be kind of embraced within our staff being involved in, and staff meetings are really a key part of that. So let's talk about some of the common pitfalls that get in the way of us implementing high performance and world-class staff meetings. So the first pitfall that we want to avoid is a lack of structure and preparation. So meetings that lack a clear structure, or when participants come along to the meetings unprepared, they often end up with chaos, wasted time, and unproductive discussions. Now, this often results in the meeting drifting off topic. There's no clear outcomes and no decisions being made. And if we do this consistently, what's going to happen is our staff are going to really bore of the meetings. Like nothing ever comes from them. And so we need to make sure that what we do is that we prepare, okay? So you need a detailed agenda beforehand. What are you going to be talking about? And this agenda should have key topics, allocate how much time that you're going to be speaking, and define the meeting's objective. Why are we getting together for this meeting and what is the outcome? We want to set some expectations for preparation. That is, communicate with all your staff beforehand that they should read this, they should prepare. And again, it's not going to take them long. It's 5 or 10 minutes. And again, you may want to assign specific topics for people. So if you're at the meeting wanting to be talking about specific data, whether that be PVA or retention or recalls, we need to give our front desk staff the opportunity to get that, okay? The other thing that you want to have as a part of this is think about having a time management person there, a timekeeper. If your meetings always run over time, then you need to have somebody there who is, set about as a dedicated timekeeper to help everything stay on track. The second pitfall is infrequent meetings. So if we hold our meetings too infrequently, this leads to misalignment, unresolved issues, and a loss of momentum. Okay, so we get all excited about an initiative, we start to lay out what needs to be done, and then off we go, but we lose that momentum. And this means that, the follow-up steps that need to happen, we don't have that opportunity for us to come back together. And so you need to implement a consistent meeting schedule. Now, I teach inside of Community Influencer that there should be 3 different types of meetings. There are weekly meetings, and these focus on immediate tasks, patient care updates, and short-term goals. These weekly meetings are at maximum 30 minutes, and most of them should be 15 minutes, okay? We keep on time. It's an opportunity for us to jump in. What's new? What's different? Are there anything we need to be aware of, and how are we tracking with things? We need to have monthly meetings. This is where we're reviewing our progress towards longer goals operational issues. And this is where we might pick a training topic. So we might go through, hey, today we're going through phone calls, in particular, how do we do a phone consultation for a new patient? So again, we give people a script to prepare before that. We go through why that's important. Then we role play on that. And again, those meetings there are going to be anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. They might sneak to an hour, but we want to keep them at 45 minutes. And then finally, what you should have is a quarterly meeting. These are really strategic planning. They are reviewing key performance indicators. These might happen on-site or off-site. You might go out to a restaurant, somewhere fun for lunch. And they might be in an entire kind of team building type sort of day. So these could range anywhere from kind of 90 minutes to a half a day. And so we have these 3 types of meetings there as well. So we need to make sure that we establish a regular schedule for that too. Now, on the flip side of not frequent enough meetings are too frequent meetings. We have a friend of ours at the moment who it seems that her practice is having meetings all of the time. It's like there's another meeting and another meeting. And these are not just short, because again, we should be having weekly 15 minutes. These are like day meetings as well. Now, when we hold too frequent meetings, this is going to lead to meeting fatigue. The participants are going to feel they're more time actually meeting than they are doing the actual work. Okay, so sometimes this can be a sense of someone wanting to justify the importance. We don't grow our practice from the meetings. We grow our practice from the implementation that happens in between the meetings. Okay, that's really important. But if we're doing them too often, there will be a meeting fatigue. So before scheduling a meeting, you want to ask yourself, is it really necessary? Okay, could this issue be resolved through an other communication, an email, a memo, a quick huddle? Could this be just done in our little 15-minute weekly meeting there too? And does everybody need to be there? Can I just handle this with the office manager? Is this really a problem with just one of your associates as well? Okay. Consider consolidating meetings. All right. So again, we talked about weekly, monthly, and quarterly meetings, making sure that we're building ourselves into those. Okay. So that's the third pitfall to be aware of, is too frequent meetings. The fourth pitfall to be aware of is there is often a dominance by a few voices. Now, I've been a part of many boards from CAA to spinal research, and what often happens is there's a few individuals that tend to dominate the conversation. And what this does is it stifles input from other team members, and it leads to disengagement and missed opportunities. So if amongst your team there's 2 or 3 of you that end up doing all of the talking there, then the other 3 team members there too are just not going to want to come along to the meetings. They are going to be disengaged. And there's a sense of that these people aren't valued from it. And as I mentioned before, we miss out on these diverse perspectives. And so as someone that's running the meeting, you need to really cleverly coordinate all of that. You need to be actively seeking input from everybody, okay? Now, when you begin to train people that that's what's going to happen, they'll know that they need to prepare for that. Naturally, you'll have some people that want to talk more. You'll have people that have more experience in some areas than others. And so it's not always going to be an equal input, but you must work towards encouraging input from everybody, okay? Now, some of the ways that you could do this is that you could rotate facilitation. So you could have somebody that runs the meeting, and maybe that's a different person each time, and they'll get better at this. There's an agenda there's a time that they're in charge of, and so they can facilitate that entire meeting there also. You can prepare in advance or get people to prepare in advance. So if there's a particular staff person that doesn't tend to talk a lot, let them know, hey, listen, on the meeting next week, I want you to talk about strategies where we could go about improving our retention. Here's some things to consider. Now, this can be uncomfortable, and we need to kind of make sure that we're working in the range of comfort for people there too. But this can be a great way to make sure that we have everybody engaged. Now, the final pitfall is a failure to follow up. And this is perhaps the number one pitfall that stops people from getting the most out of the meetings. Like, we did some meetings for a while and nothing really changed, and there was a lot of talking and not a lot of action, okay? Without proper follow-up, action items from the meetings will be forgotten, ignored, and there's a lack of there's just stalled progress, okay? So accountability is absolutely the key. So at the end of each meeting, what should be happening is a documentation of all action items. What did we say we were going to do? Who is going to be in charge of that, and then by when? Now, this action item then immediately gets copied into the next meeting. And so when we're following up with the next meeting, it's like, okay, let's review the action items from the previous meeting. Okay, Angus, you said you were going to do this. Lauren, you said you were going to be doing this. Tanya, you said, and we get people, there's that level of accountability when people know that this is what's coming up. People get stuff done when they know they need to be accountable. So this means that we distribute minutes So at the end of the meeting, this goes out. Everybody gets to look over that and agree. Yes, Angus, did you say you were doing this by this stage? Lauren. So those meeting minutes are important for that. And then that's added to the next meeting. Now we need to create a culture of accountability. Okay. So there's a culture of accountability that comes from there too. That with time, if you've not had good follow through with this, it might take some time. All right. If there's just been meetings and it's been a lot of people talking or one person talking, then getting people up to understanding, all right, we're going to clear out our action items. Okay, we're going to assign them to somebody. There's a meeting minutes. You're going to review those meeting minutes, make sure you're okay with it. And then when it comes to the next meeting, we're going to begin the meeting off with the action items from beforehand, and people are going to report on the progress. Now, when we avoid those 5 pitfalls, okay, and let me just summarize those for you again. When we make sure that, first of all, what we have is a real structure and preparation. Everybody is prepared from the meeting. There's a structure to it there too. When we make sure that we're having regular meetings, okay, again, we have weekly meetings. These are short little 15-minute ones. Monthly meetings, these are somewhere between kind of 30 minutes and maybe 90 minutes there too. And we have quarterly minutes that can be kind of 2 hours to half a day. When we find that sweet spot between them being infrequent and the right timing there too, we get the most out of people too. Okay, the fourth thing that we talked about is dominance by a few voices. We need to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be heard, not just the loudest people. We want to be engaging everybody in this. And then we want to create a culture of accountability, a culture of follow-up. Now, when we navigate all 5 of these pitfalls that we talked about before, we end up in that lovely situation that I talked about right at the beginning of this. Okay, that situation where we start to see, first of all, our output is multiplied. We start to see things happening. The quality of our work goes up, and the energy and the enthusiasm that our staff has also begins to elevate. Now, staff meetings and learning how to do this properly is something that will take you some time, but it's a skill set. There's loads of additional trainings that you'll find online. There's, videos on YouTube, but I've covered here pretty much everything that you need to know. Be aware of those pitfalls, keep away from those, and these will really help you implement high performance staff meetings. And this allows us to care for people better in our community. It allows us to save more lives there. As always, folks, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. Your community needs you implementing high performance staff meetings. I'll see you back here next week. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.